everybody, this is the Sliders Review. I'm here today to talk about Black History Month. The month that is a celebration of my people, because I am a black man and everything. And it's about all our accomplishments, all the oppression that we have gone through over like centuries of living in like America and stuff like that. And even till this day, we are still being oppressed. And so I'm here today to talk to you about certain characters or TV shows or episodes that revolve around Black History Month that I personally enjoy. So I'm here today to talk to you about Power Rangers Zeo, Rangers in the Outfield. So this is a Tanya focused episode. Kinda. It's mostly, it's weird. Like, when they wrote the character of Tanya, she is probably the most confusing out of every Power Ranger. Like, okay, I was trying to find out, like, in Zeo, what's like a Tanya centered episode, and I can only think of 3. And I think there were only 3. I don't think there were none in Zeo, to tell you the truth. And so when it does come to her focus center episodes in Zeo, it's mostly only the character of Tanya, but not the Ranger and stuff. So it's like there'll be something going on with her in her personal life that she will resolve towards the end of the episode. But when it comes to that of fighting like a monster, it's not her particularly that is like, defeating the monster and stuff. Or the one who like saves the day, like in most other Rangers type episodes. So that always sucked, and it was probably because of that of the Sentai. But even in the Sentai, they had to at least have one focus episode of the female Sentai Ranger and stuff. But then again, over there in Japan, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And normally I notice over there in the Sentai, the Yellow Ranger is the one who gets like shafted the most, man. Because it's kind of like they really never get no focus in their episodes that much. And so, but then also when it comes to Tanya, the way they wrote her, it was so confusing. It's like, first of all, how old exactly is she? Because that's the biggest mystery of them all and everything. So, I will be touching down on this episode, but I'll also be touching down on the other 2 episodes, mainly because of how they treated her and stuff. And okay, when it comes to her age, okay, this is what's so confusing, right? Okay, so in the Alien Ranger season, in Mighty Morphin 3rd season, Master Val, like, I think he reversed time. I don't think he de-aged the Rangers by 10 years. I think he reversed time by 10 years. So everything's reversed by 10 years. They're looking for the Zeo crystals individually so they can combine it into the Zeo crystal. So they're looking for the individual sub crystal. Aisha's still there. They're in the past. It's been stated all of the Zeo crystals are somewhere in the past to a place where Zonan and the Morphin Grid knows exactly where they are. So they send all the Rangers on like a quest. Aisha goes to Africa and everything in the past, not the present of 1995. So she's in the past. Is there, she's almost attacked by like a little lion, and then in comes Tanya to like save and rescue her. Tanya's a little African girl with an actual African accent, or at least a fake one for the show. There's a reason why I mentioned that and put emphasis on it. I'll get to that a little bit later. So then, after all some shenanigans and everything, Aisha decides, okay, she's gonna stay in Africa and help the animals because they're sick and attacking people. First things first, Aisha don't know how to do that. They have never established Aisha can do that. But of course they had to write her off because the actress wanted to leave the show. So, okay, so this is what makes no weird. So she gives her Zeo crystal to Tanya to give back to the people in the present. So Tanya is then transported to 1995. And so when the Zeo crystal is restored, it fixes time. And Tanya has now discovered she is a teenage girl. And so this one don't make no sense. So therefore, she know for a fact, because this was in the past, she was a kid. So when time reversed itself, shouldn't she technically either still be a child or be an adult, or be an old woman, or be dead. Because we don't know exactly what time Aisha went back into the past and stuff. Not only that, but Zordon, this is the part that really don't make no sense. So Zordon was like, okay, when the timeline has restored itself, Aisha and Tanya's entire time history line will realign themselves into that of the present day. So that means everything that happened with Tanya and her family will be now in America, and everything that happened with Aisha will now be in Africa. So that means technically the Rangers shouldn't even know who Aisha is, because they technically have never met her if it realigned to where she spent all her time now in Africa. This was so confused. I get what the writers were trying to do, but they didn't do it very well. Until this day, fans are still like confused, and the actress has no idea what's going on. So that means technically, when Adam was kind of like, I don't know, cause they almost had like, there was like they wasn't flirting, but they kind of, it seemed like Adam and Tanya liked each other, which if they did do, she was underage. Oh boy. And then, so, okay, because there is an episode. Okay, so I watched all 3 episodes, and so this is the one with her parents. So apparently her parents have been missing for like years and years and stuff. And so when we see them, her parents, oh, this is another thing. When she's now in America, she now has an American accent, because, you know, it got dropped because of the whole realigning and everything. Therefore, her parents have lost their accents, and they're more modern and stuff. But when we see them, they're about in their late 40s, 50s, something like that. So I guess it couldn't have been that far into the past they traveled, but still. And so, like, so it's been stated that her parents have been like missing for years and years and years. And so, like, Aisha somehow has found out where they're at, and has found the key and has sent it to Tanya. But technically, Aisha shouldn't even really remember who anybody is, because her memories got realigned with the whole timeline time shift thing. And how in the world does Aisha even know about her parents and know the whole key of Oracle and stuff? That was just such a confusing season. That's probably one. Like, there's a lot of reasons why I haven't bought Z on DVD, because there's a couple of reasons why, but it's just like, I don't know, man. It's so confusing. And so then she meets her parents, and they're all like, "Oh, they can't believe it's her," and stuff like that. So okay, so while she's in, like, you know, America and all this other stuff, she's not really too familiar with like anything, right? Which makes sense, because, you know, they don't have that type of stuff in Africa. But technically, shouldn't she know, since her memories have realigned with that of, like, you know, the top? See, man, ooh. So anyway. In the first, like, I think it was the second episode, she meets a boy named Sean. She is starting to date him and everything. And so she's trying to help him study and everything. He doesn't really want to study. He wants to cheat. She gets on to him about that and everything. And so after, like, she kind of like scolds him a little bit. That's the one thing that's funny when she becomes a teenager. Okay, when she was a kid, she was shy and quiet. But when she became a teenager, man, she will scold you and shout at you. And she always looked pissed off and stuff. But for some reason, the people on the show had her dressing like a grown woman and always had her hair in a very mature kind of way. And it's like, dude, she's supposed to be a teenager, or is she really an adult and now going to school? Who knows? And so, oh boy. And so, like, okay. So after she scolds him, like, okay, fine, like, whatever, I ain't gonna cheat, blah, blah, blah. And the rest of the episode, like, the reason why I'm not even explaining the episode, because mostly it was just, like, they got their Zors, and Billy helped to make them, and, like, the Cogs, and, like, the Machine Empire people almost found out where they're at, and bulk and skull is doing some weird stuff with, like, Goldar and Rito, because they lost their memories and stuff. It was one of those weird kind of seasons. But anyway, the baseball episode, so Sean's on the baseball team, Rocky's on the baseball team, Adam's on the baseball team. And one day, Adam's like talking to her and everything. And the ball comes towards her, and she catches it with one hand. I did that one time in PE. Boy, I was like a hero that day. Because what I did, I taught myself how to catch a ball with my hand when it's really high up in the air. So when I was like a kid, I kept throwing it as high in the air as I can and trying to catch it with just one hand. And one day, when somebody hit like a hit the ball, it was like so high in the air. I just held my hand up and boop, caught it. That dude was pissed. 'Cause he just stuff. But the rest of everybody else, the whole class, they were like, I was like a hero to them and stuff. So anyway, so the coach sees how like well she can catch it. I'm like, hey, can you throw? That's probably a reason for this. I'm not too familiar with the Sentai in this episode, but I didn't really get no baseball feel to this episode. And so the reason why it's a baseball episode is because the actress, Nakia, she actually used to play softball growing up. You know, it's weird how they call the girls' sport softball, but the boys baseball and stuff. So yeah, kind of weird on that. And it's like, no wonder girls keep getting constantly mad at dudes. Like, you keep giving us the weird names like softball and stuff. So anyways, like, so she's on like trying out for the team. And she ends up striking out Sean. This pisses him off. It pisses him off to the point where he's just kind of like, this is messed up. I'm your boyfriend. All these people making fun of me now and like all this other stuff. And so this irritates her because she feels he should be supportive, which he should be, instead of so angry. But you know how like teenagers are and egos and back in those old days, they used to teach guys like, hey, a girl should never like outdo you and all that weird stuff. And so like Machine Empire people, they create like this like monster that like shoots baseballs, and if it hits you, you get sucked into him. So when Rocky and Adam are supposed to like practice with Sean, he forgets like his gloves, so he leaves. And when Adam hits the ball, boom, when Rocky hits the ball, he gets sucked into there. But he left his morpher in his book bag. The cogs, they take it. And Adam, he fights the cogs one-on-one in his individual form. And so then I think he morphs later or whatever. This was don't make no sense. They never really show where Rocky's at until much later. So I assume he just got turned into a ball, but he didn't. Also, when he got sucked into like side the monster, why didn't he just morph? He doesn't need his morpher on him. This isn't like the old days. Like all he has to do is twist his wrist and it appears out of like nowhere and stuff. So the whole cog still in like the morpher thing, which is kind of weird. And then so of course, the Rangers, they morph. And they like try to get his morpher back and stuff. Lord have mercy. See, this is the reason why people assume that Power Rangers is a kid show. They used the Sentai footage for this. It was one of the most silliest, wackiest things ever. It was almost like Wacky Races or whatever that thing is called. They were playing hot potato with the morpher from the cog. So they'll throw it to one ranger and they'll be in some kind of like vehicle at like an amusement park just riding around. I think Adam was in like in a go-kart. One of like Cat was in like some type of like gondola boat type thing. Somebody was in like, I think Tommy was in like a race car or something like that. It was just a weird thing they did in the Sentai, man. I'm just like, what the world's going on? That's another reason why I didn't buy the DVD. Because the Sentai was really silly back then. So then Tommy gets sucked into the monster. He gives Rocky his morpher. He morphs. And then they get out some kind of weird way. It doesn't really explain it because they were trying to match the American audio to like the Sentai. I don't even think they knew what was going on. All we saw was the Rangers dude pulling on something. He's all like, pull on this and see if we can get out. But then all of a sudden you see like lasers shooting out. Why? Because they had their blasters shooting out. And then when they come out, they have their blasters. So I think the monster gets big. And then they call on the Zords. Of course, they defeat it and all that. Bulk and Skull, let's get into them. They don't really do nothing in this. I think they... I just watched 3 episodes. I'm kind of getting mixed up what they're doing now. One episode, they got I think that's the second episode where they got the motorcycle thing. I I think in this one they was just like by the baseball field playing with the stuff, and then the cog showed up and scared them. And the Zeo, bulk and skull really didn't serve no real true purpose. They were cops early in the beginning, then them and Stone lost their jobs and they become like PIs after that. Don't know why they become PIs, but they do. And what didn't make no sense about Bulk and Skull is that we never saw them in high school no more. They never graduated because they were like the same ages as the Rangers and dumb as rock. So like, well, why come they wasn't at school anyway? They defeat the monster, and then something they play like baseball after that. And so like Tanya's like striking people out on the other team, and she's doing like a really good job, right? And then so, but one of them managed to hit the ball, and Rocky's able to catch it. Sean comes over all pissed, all like, I can't believe this, and that, and you couldn't strike him out, stuff like that. So she lays it on him, and she scolds the crap out of him, just shouting at him, you can't support me, blah, blah, I don't want nothing to do with you, and blah, blah. So he walks off, and I don't think we ever see him again. And then, so her and Adam have this like a bonding moment, like and a lot of fans have speculated were those two supposed to be an item, but it never like flourished and never came to fruition and everything. So it would have been neat to see, but sadly it never did. It probably didn't because she's technically a kid in real life in a teenage body. But the cool thing about Tanya is that like she's new to this new world. Like when he was telling her the Sultan of SWAT, she's like, "What's that?" He's like, "Babe Ruth." She's like, "Well, who's that?" Because she don't know who all this like stuff is because she was in Africa. Although her memory should have realigned, so I don't know. But one cool thing about her is she's misplaced in the world she's unfamiliar with. But it's like she is loyal to her friends. And when push comes to shove, boy, she will say it's morphin time and start fighting the monster and everything. And that's one thing that was like really cool about her. Is that that's one thing that's just cool about Power Rangers in general. It's like these people who don't really ask for this and they kind of get sucked into this world of monsters and superheroes, but they're willing to fight the good fight because they know, if nobody else does it, then there won't be nobody left around to like do anything. And that's just like so cool and stuff. And it's just like, because they're teenagers, man, and they have this huge responsibility, and yet somehow they still make A's on their tests. I don't understand that. Happy Black History Month, everybody. I'll talk to you later. Bye.